RESOBOX is an organization that strives to be the hub for Japanese culture, where we provide a platform for you to experience and gather knowledge about Japanese culture. And today we're so lucky to have Chef Michele join us and show us how to experiment with all these interesting 4 ingredients. A little bit about these ingredients. These ingredients all are from a location called Kyushu in Japan. And it's an island in the south. And all these ingredients are sent over by the Kyushu Japan Trade Promotion Council, which they are the sponsor of this event as well. And we're also very lucky to have all the manufacturers in the chat today. So if you have specific questions about the products, you can ask them in chat. I don't think they read English, but I will read the question and translate and ask them for you. So make sure you ask those questions if you have them. So I will go over the 4 products. First one I want to go over is the fresh basil sauce from Fine News. They have established themselves in 1990. This is a simple yet fantastic product. It's a fresh basil sauce that is made by using non-heated fresh basil grown without any pesticides. And this basil is made with care and hand-picked, and it is very simple but versatile, very good product. And you should be able to find some information in the links posted in the chat. Next, we have a Shio-Koji Garlic. It's a salt koji garlic. This item adds high-quality garlic from Kagoshima Prefecture, and it combines it with koji for added taste and nutrition. What's interesting about this garlic is that it's grown in Kagoshima, and Kagoshima has active volcanoes, and the volcanic ash falls on the soil, and it creates a mineral-rich environment that makes the garlic distinct and very healthy. Sorry, give me 1 second. And of course, everyone knows, I'm sure a lot of you know about koji. Koji is a historical product used in a lot of Japanese cooking, and it has a lot of nutrition that can't be had from just garlic. So this adds a lot of nutrition and umami to the product. The third product we'll be talking about is the Scallion Dressing from Asakura Bussan. This company started in 1955, and they started making the dressings in 1986. They grow their own scallions. It takes about 80 days in the summer, 120 days in the winter to grow and harvest these scallions, which is much longer than the usual process. And that slow process creates an unusual umami in the vibrance, and it's very high quality scallion. And the last product we'll talk about is the Japanese fermented rice drink. It's also called Amazake from N International. It's created using carefully selected domestic rice and koji. This product is not only healthy, but very tasty. Amazake is a drink that is created with koji, and it has been a staple of Japanese culture since the 700s. So it's 1,300 years, over 1,300 years old. It's a very healthy drink. It contains a lot of B vitamins, folic acid, niacin, dietary fiber. It's very healthy, but also tasty. And because it has so much health benefits, it's also referred to as an IV that you can drink. So those are the 4 products we'll be using today to show you interesting uses. And yeah, have fun. Take in what Chef Michele is doing and ask a lot of questions. So now I would like to pass it over to Chef Michele, but would you like to do an introduction, Katie?
Sure. I know we had some questions in the chat about where we can buy these products. I believe Takashi had mentioned that some of them are available at Sunrise Mart. And I also see that he's put some information here about where they can be purchased. And I will include the Yelp link for Sunrise Mart as well, because if you have not been there, it is an amazing Japanese market in the East Village. So I guess without further ado, Chef Michele, we'll pass it off to you. I'm excited to see what we'll be cooking.
Thank you. So welcome, everybody. I'm really happy we're going to spend Thursday night together. To me is an honor, and it's also a big pleasure, because cooking is about connecting, and connecting with new friends is always special, and especially these days is opening the door virtually to everybody according to what we like the most. I'm wearing gloves for many reasons, but first of all, because I'm gonna play with some new idea for dressing. And since I'm an executive chef, which owns a restaurant as well, but I started my career on the streets in New York, I never forgot how important it is to speak out and say why you are here. So tonight, I'm here to match some incredible products, simple recipe, simple steps in the approach of the culinary world. I strongly believe that few things, very limited ingredient, should be in any dish and should be distinctive and making the difference. So speaking out, I hope you will have fun and feel free to interrupt me at any time. So the first thing a chef wants to do when he meets friends and has the occasion of being among other people is reading the menu. So I prepared a little menu for you tonight, which I'll make sure I will email you with all the ingredients and the steps. But enjoy the journey. You will see it will be very, very simple. It will be about putting together, finding the way it looks better, but also balancing tastings, umami, and finding how ingredients that are supposedly far from each other, they meet so well and they get so close. So if there's no any question, I'll read the menu. Starter, welcome to the table. We're gonna have a Shio-Koji Garlic from Yokofuku, Burrata with arugula and corn flowers, those little blue dry flowers with Scallion Dressing from Asakura. So the ingredients by itself, they already have such a depth and such a character that what we will need to do with this dish will be just be careful as much as we can, touching at the least the ingredients and giving a touch of elegance. Where for elegance, I mean simplicity. After this starter, we'll move in my world. We'll do a little bit of pasta, gnocchi, or as they call it here, potato dumplings, but I like to refer to the gnocchi word. I'll give you the recipe as well for the gnocchi, and you will discover that the gnocchi I love, they have no eggs. Yes, no eggs. And this special recipe we do tonight, it could be a great option for vegan, except I will add Parmigiano Reggiano tonight, my preference. But I'll see you and I'll show you how we might not need it, but I really like. So keep an eye. This recipe is vegetarian, full of antioxidant, full of vitamins, and very suitable for vegan as well, unless we don't put the cheese. After pasta, what Italian chef would I be if I'm not taking care of a little sweet treat, a dessert? So again, we move in the classical world of the panna cotta, but with a great twist. 2 ingredients and some little trick. And it will be the Amazake panna cotta with Vibippo grapes. Probably you are familiar with some of these words. Some of those I was not familiar, but now I am. And I will start, if you're ready, with the first starter, which is the salad. A little mixing bowl, stainless steel, ceramic would work fine. And I'll tell you why I decided stainless steel. Glass would work very fine as well. Since I'm in my kitchen, in my home, usually I have, as many of you, one refrigerator, which is not really close to me. So I choose to have a material that is kind with the temperature, which means stainless steel, it's a terrible conductor, terrible. So it will not influence the temperature of the ingredients I'm gonna mix inside. And since I'm far from the refrigerator, it's very useful. If I were in my restaurant, probably I would play with something more similar to plexiglass. Because you know, when you guys are at the table and you order your food, you want it really quick. So we have to set the temperature to any ingredient to be what we call a short service. Here, it's on cooking. It's a lot of chatting and maybe some wine or maybe some drinks, so we can take the time to choose all the materials we like. So stainless steel bowl. The first ingredient jumping inside will be, you guys remember the name? Shio-Koji Garlic. This is an incredible versatile ingredient. I choose tonight to use it as a part of the dressing, but it's kind of taking off the superpower to the product. I wanted to reduce the importance of this ingredient because honestly, this ingredient can be a dinner by itself. I hope in the future we will have more time because this is so great for brining. Yes, brining, chicken, beef, any type of fish, vegetables. It's impressive. And I don't know if they told you, I don't know if Alex remembered to say that. It's the most incredible tenderizer I ever been using in my career. You know, when you have those parts of meats that you never know how to use, but you like them, they have a good price, they're full of taste, but when you chew them, they have that texture that you never know. Maybe you could braise them. The same goes for some type of fishes. No, you don't need. You just want to do a brine. In this case, will be a wet brine overnight. I did some tests. 8 to 12 hours is really, really perfect. Even 3 hours does miracle. But as I said, I want to take some of the superpower off to leave room to all the ingredients. So tonight, I'm using as a protagonist, partial, with a great friend, in a dressing, meeting Italy on a burrata. Such a risk. But as you know, Japan loves burrata, as we love Japanese culture and food. Why? Attention to detail, simplicity, something that's been repeating in years and years. I'm sure you can find all the answers, but this company were not founded 20 years ago. Way, way, way older than this. So, truth to be told, few drops, and I'll show you. The packaging is really attracting to me. When we started working, I felt it was great because it's easy to store in the refrigerator. New York, we have the space we have in our room, in our house. So it's a very simple, small pack that you can easily open with a valve on the top, and you can easily close it back. I really like it. You close it, it's not getting any flavor from your refrigerator, neither is giving out. So there's no problem in crossing. And you know, chefs are obsessed about cross-contamination. Well, this is the smart way to do it. There's no way it's going to be neither receiving or giving any contamination, and it's going to be fresh as any first time you've been using the product. This is maybe me watching these details, but I think you should guys have some focus on this as well. So stainless steel, squeezing the pouch bag a little bit. All right, I hope you can see it. The density and the smell, it reminds me what it would be probably an apple puree. So that kind of color and density. So it's gonna be very easy to emulsionate it, which is a partial technique we're gonna use. So a little bit of this, I would say a couple of drops. The smell is incredible, really, really incredible. And do not expect the traditional garlic, because the koji part, it's adding a sweetness, and it's not taking anything off from the garlic. It's actually making, and I love this word, my superhero garlic. It's bringing to a next level of garlic, sweeter. And I don't know if you love truffle. I do. There's such an aroma, as in any great truffle, reminding me a little bit of the truffle for that profile of sweetness, garlic, and a touch of flavor and aftertaste of honey as well. So many things. See, I could talk about this hours. So that's why we have to take it up some of the powers. Now, this is a very interesting dressing. I remember when I received it, they do so many versions. That's the one I picked today because it's, again, very close to the profile I decided. But it's one of those ingredients that with a couple of shakes in a little place in your refrigerator after you open it. So remember, there's always an option to have it shelf stable, but the moment you open, you want to have it refrigerated. It's one of those ingredients that even with plain steamed rice, you know, when you order some takeout dinner and arrives and you have leftovers, this is something that's going to make miracle out of those leftovers. Again, on fish, on vegetables, yes, on pasta as well, on your salmon, but even on plain white rice. I hope someone was asking that. Since nobody's asking, I'll answer. Does it work on quinoa? Yes. Is it great on barley? Yes. And that rice that is so attracting to me, but so easy to chew and tap, those white rice, does it work? Yes. Because this little thing here not only works on umami part, but it's what I call the underliner of flavor. It enhances distinctness of all the ingredients. Something sometimes you do when you are tasting, like switching from a plate to another. How can you keep your palate active? This would be something that would do the magic. Because of the acidity and the complexity of flavor, #1 in umami. And remember, region number 5 in your tongue, it's the region we want to impress when we talk about umami. So most of the time when you sit at the table and say, oh, chef, this pasta with tomato sauce was great, I know I did the umami part. I know I'm exciting your region number 5, meaning giving the right amount of saltiness, sweet, and acidity. There's no risotto without acidity. Put it there, vinegars inside. So I'm taking a little bit of your time, but I'm so happy you guys are here. So we had a little bit here. So see, it's very easy. It has a cap, and then there's a little unscrew cap here. So again, it's gonna last. It's not gonna change the color, something I'll be tasted when I receive the product. So it will always look fresh and brand new. So it will be that little thing you can add to any dinner. Remember the density, and this is gonna exactly what we need. All right, look. And I'm gonna do a little shake to get everything extract from what is at the bottom and go in there. Perfecto. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a kind of an emulsion. And now with a little bit of my tweezer, I'm gonna do really an emulsion, moving in order to make sure they are incorporating. You could do it with a spoon, but since I need the tweezer later, I don't wanna, wow, this mess. I don't wanna do really a mess. I'm using the tweezer right now. So first part, emulsionating the two new friends. Were they meant to be together? Well, in my kitchen, yes. And then a little bit of the arugula. I'm sure you're very familiar with this salad. Any other kind of salad will work. Yes, but I need something that has a structure. I need to have bitterness touch, but also structure. So something that is not too soft, because we're gonna have a load of the weight of the burrata. You will see in a second. Rocket will work great. Hickory will really work great. And alfalfa, maybe yes. Radicchio, perfecto. Any question, or should I move forward?
I think we're all set right now. Someone had asked if cauliflower rice would work with the scallion dressing, but I'm sure the answer is absolutely yes.
Well, even better, because when you talk about cauliflower, you remember what we said in the beginning about the truffle. All those profiles. We don't have any truffle on the table, but all the aromas we're talking about are very similar to that part of the world. You know why I'm referring to that? Because we're talking of something that grows under the earth. So I'm sure you have questions about the scallions, the solinaceae word, what is coming from the earth. Later we're gonna see what happened with the garlic. It's growing under the soil. So yes, cauliflower is actually awesome. Cauliflower rice, it's a big hype these days, but it has a meaning for it. So I think it's gonna be there for staying. So great idea. And even with the garlic salt we were mentioning before, again, great. So nailed it, very good.
Thank you.
Getting the rucola, putting inside it. I wish you could feel the smell. And now, that's why I have the gloves, I'm gonna do a quick toss. Okay, so I'm trying to show you what I mean for a quick toss under the camera, just to cover the leaves a little bit, just to give a little bit of the color, because in this occasion specifically, the flavor and the intensity of aroma, it's so there that we don't really need much. We're not saving the ingredients. We are generally putting what we want to achieve the first perfect bite. To me, on a dinner, it's all about the first bite. If I trust you at the first bite in that dish, we're friends. If I don't, I'll give you a second chance, a third chance, but I would like to start very well with the first one. I choose a little bit of a fancy plate tonight for this, because these ingredients to me are gold. And I choose a very interesting dish, gold copper inside, all black lava in the outside, thermal capacity very high. We are dealing with exquisite ingredients. So again, the temperatures must be on the side of us. And we're using burrata. You know the concern when you play with cheese. Of course, all these cheeses are pasteurized, but we want to make sure that the structure is there. Okay? So we call it the gold rock plate. Gold rock plate is our pick tonight for the burrata you're gonna see in a second. What I'm gonna do is put in the arugula we've been working on a little bit at the bottom, but really a little bit. because it's not only working as the bed for the burrata, but ideally, I would like you to taste the burrata, one bite and a little bit of the salad. We're using the arugula just to move the ingredient towards the burrata. That's the concept. So this is how we're putting there. I hope the camera gives you some depth. And now I'm taking one of the two burrata, which I usually take out of the refrigerator 10 to 15 minutes before, because I like when the consistency, it's there, but it's still firm, but I want to feel the inside. Because what we like the most about burrata is when we cut it and we see how soft and exploding it is. So beautiful. I'm going to place it, as I said, very, very close. And now, since I want to win your approval from the first bite, what I'm going to do is I'll put it here, so I'm sure you can see a little bit better. And with the dressing, shaking again, I'm going to give some drops on top of the burrata, some drops. And just before serving, with a good knife, I'm going to cut it on the top because I want to see the opening. And the moment it's open, and I'll show you, I have a little bit of room where I can add the Shio-Koji garlic, which I really like. And the two ingredients, they will melt together in an amazing way. See? Extra touch. Perfetto. And in order to solve it, I'll put it in front here because, guys, I want you to see it. An extra little bit of the topping, because I want any bite to feel the same. And of course, a little bit of surprise, black pepper at the end. I know this was not announced. I need to keep your attention on. So if I tell you everything, there's no reason to meet again.
The black pepper surprise.
Can you see what I did in the way cutting it?
It looks beautiful.
Why did I cut it there? Because you remember we talked about wet brine and how it can tenderize it. So in the moment it meets something already tender at the right temperature, what is going to happen with the garlic and the acidity and the umami? They're melting together to the point that when you're going to have your first bite, you are not eating a burrata. You will eat what we created here, which I want to call it the garlic koji scallion burrata.
It looks amazing. And we also had a question from Minna, and she was just wondering where you purchased your ceramics or your plate.
Oh, this is a great question, and I'm very flattered you asked me. 70%, 80% of my ceramic, I design them, and I make sure they are baked for me. Some of them in Brooklyn, some of them in Egypt, some of them in Turkey. And you will notice if you come say hi because of the weight and the material I use, because I'm always concerned about the ceramic and the weight. In this special occasion, tonight I choose plates you guys can find and buy. It's a Villeroy Bosch. Is it familiar, the name for you? It's called Global or Globe Black Rock Lava Plate from Villeroy Bosch.
Nice, thank you. And it looks beautiful.
And it's microwavable.
Oh, wow.
And you know why I decided this plate for our restaurant these days? Because thermically, we bring to any table with a cover on top that is going to hold the temperature, not only the temperature, but the safety as well. So you can go at your pace with the meal, having the temperature there. And when I speak about temperature, it means either cold or hot. It's always maintained. So this is the perfect dish for doing what we're doing here tonight.
Perfect. It looks great. Thank you.
At the end, we're going to move in pure gold, but we're going to talk about this at the end. Okay, gnocchi. So after the starter, I'm guessing we are enjoying it. Getting maybe a great glass of beer, because we didn't mention that when we were talking, what is a great pairing with a dish like this? I'm sure, guys, you are talented and very close to know exactly what you like to drink, but I want to challenge you a little bit. Do you think, or can you tell me what would be a great pairing for what just we did? Remember what we have: garlic, koji. This word is really important when we talk about koji. It's a key element and a key structure in the ingredients. And then we have scallions, oil, and all these ingredients and all this umami. What would be a great pairing for this dish, in your opinion? Montepulciano? No. Maybe sparkling water? Yes. Sparkling water would be great, but I would add some lime. One of the pairing I'm really talking about these days, it's a pink peppercorn beer or an apricot sour beer. Are you into the sour beer? I don't know if you're familiar with the word, but this is the way to discover. So the Italian chef Michele Casadei Massari is saying you can have sour beer with burrata. Yes, I am saying it's my fault or my new thing, but I think it's a great pairing. So with the beer, it would be great. And with a great Asakura beer or Kirin beer at the right temperature, yes, it will be one of those few situations where a bufala or a burrata can get close to the beer. Why? As we said before, matching culture and profile of flavors and taste and aromas. I have another burrata here. I'll keep it here, okay? I'm not eating by myself. Maybe later we'll have some. So while we were talking, I decided to start boiling some water. This is the pot. It's a wonderful pot of 3-ply, I call it. Stainless steel in the handles, copper outside, aluminum 2 millimeter in the inside, and the coating is tin. So one pot, we can do everything. We can boil, we could do risotto, we could do pastry cream, we could do polenta, and allows me, again, as I said, being home to have time to talk to you and either burning or evaporating all the water, but still being able to talk to you guys. The gnocchi, these are now homemade gnocchi. I choose them because they are shelf stable. And I wanted to make sure that if you want to replicate the recipe, you can buy immediately, even shopping right now in your grocery. But I'm sending you very soon my recipe for gnocchi. So first part of the ingredient of our gnocchi with the basil sauce. I don't know, I'm almost about to say the pesto, but I'll stop there because there's no nuts here. So no problem with allergies. And there's no cheese inside. So yes, for vegan. We love the cheese, but it's not inside. Very important. Not a lot of ingredients these days are so, let me say, pure, distinctive, and clean with no cross-contamination of ingredients. Very important. So the gnocchi are here, shelf stable, means they can be out of the refrigerator, but the moment you open the bag, they must be inside. They will go in the water. How much water do you need for boiling your pasta or your gnocchi? It's such a question that I get it all the time. Did you ever guys wonder, how about the salt? How about the proportion? There is a specific rule about this. And actually, one of the rules that really makes the result of your pasta. With the gnocchi, we don't have the topic of being al dente. Actually, you don't want to have your gnocchi al dente at all. But how much salt and how much water can you give for the cooking in order to have exactly what you need in terms of color, consistency, and also size? Well, the proportion is always 1 to 3. Let's say you have a cup of gnocchi. You want to go at least with 3 cups of water. Why I'm saying at least? Because the water, when you're boiling your pasta, your dumplings, your gnocchi, call it as you are more familiar with, it's a key element. The more, the better. You need the volume, either for the starch, either for the gluten. You need space. You need, in order to generate a convectional movement inside of the pot. Do we need to add oil when we boil pasta or gnocchi? No, no. They said all the time, put the oil. That's not a great idea at all. It makes a great profit for who sells the oil because it runs faster. Is this a terrible idea? Terrible idea. First of all, there's no way a fat can go inside of water, neither reverse. Otherwise, something I love, like mayonnaise, wouldn't be existing, which is an emulsion. So is this really happening? Putting oil in the water? No, no, no. Oh, I heard it gives great flavor. Come on, it gives a better color. No, it makes my pasta al dente. No, it is just a grease we don't need. It's calories we don't enjoy. It's a mess. So no, no, no. After being cooked, can we add a little bit of oil or butter? Yes, for different reasons. Holding the temperature and the consistency, giving a great color and a flavor. But now while we're cooking. So I don't know if you can see it, but I'm getting closer. The water is not really boiling because we don't really need in this case, but they are floating means they're almost ready. Why we don't need the water boiling? Because since of the product we are using, it's green color, I want to use that green color. And I want the green color to stay, not to leave me alone. So I'm not trying to kill that part with the water is too hot and the pasta too hot. I'm actually trying to blanch that color with a little bit of the water from the cooking, but without canceling and going through a gray color. So my gnocchi on purpose, I didn't put any salt. I didn't want to add it because the product we are using, it's this little guy here, actually exists also in bigger size. In my restaurant, we have pouch for this, but it's glass, so very easy to open and close and long lasting in your refrigerator. It's all natural, but the way it's being processed, and I know we've been talking about this long time during our meeting, it's done in a way that it adds the value to the product to last the longest possible. I don't know if you can see the color, it's bright green. There's a little bit of oil on the top. And the smell, the perfume itself, it's incredible. There's already salt inside, going back to what we said. Why? It really helps keeping the color and the longevity of the product. And it makes one ingredient product, nothing to add more. So I didn't put any salt in my gnocchi. The gnocchi are almost ready. Do I need to taste them? No, I watch the color and they're floating. But if you want, you can go with your finger and touch. They have to be gummy in a way. The water is changing color because due to the potatoes, and in my gnocchi there will be no egg, I said it, the starch releasing will do a little bit of what I call crema, perfect for this recipe. So now we're gonna add a little bit of our product here with the basil in the pan. I choose a small pan here with copper because again, it's a material that makes everything look better in terms of the color because we can influence the food color through materials. So count with me, portion-wise and control. 1, how many guests are we tonight? 2, 3? Well, then we do 2 spoons and a little extra because I'm a big guy. Okay. So I don't know if you can see, this is the quantity. Look at the color, there's oil. I'm not gonna add anything else. My gnocchi are ready. I'm getting closer with the pot. See, like this. Why I'm using the spoon for the first one? Because I need a little bit of that water, as I said in the beginning. Now I got a little bit of the cooking water, and I'm going with the, how you call this? Spider. No, in Italy, we call it retina. Okay, la mia retina is working. Just to give you a heads up, this is the proportion I would like to see in your pot, in your pan. Okay? Perfect. With induction, it's very easy because we can totally change the temperature and the speed according to what we have in terms of time. We can speed up in a second, as I'm going to do now because I want temperature, but we can even lower very easily. So it's always a great choice for me, honestly. I'm going to use a little bit of spatula because I don't like to waste, but I also like to incorporate any of the ingredients. Just look now, I just move it a little bit and look how it's integrating each other. In Italian, we call this process legatura. When you do risotto, this will be called mantecatura. So tonight you learn la legatura degli gnocchi. Okay? Bellissimo.
Chef,
Again,
I'm curious how.
Sorry?
I was to say, I'm curious if this is like something similar to a pesto.
Well, I didn't want to use that word because pesto, you know, involves different type of ingredients, and this is very clean. I would say this is the best base for your pesto you could ever think of.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Especially because most of the time when I go buy pesto here, it tastes minty, which is something you really don't want. I try a lot of local basil, Hawaiian basil, Thai basil, purple basil, Genovese basil, upstate basil. All of them have a little extra touch of mint that I'm not really looking forward to. This one will not have, because if I'm not wrong, it's coming from the Isola of Okinawa. Pure, amazing water, soil. You should see the place where they do this. It's impressive. I say it because the first things I said when they talked to me, I want to see where they do it. I want to see how they do it. And it's really impressive. So look what we did here, just talking. Nothing added. I'm adding a little bit of extra water to keep that crema, that legatura very soft. And then we're going to move to the plate. At this stage, it's completely vegan. Because I said it before, in my gnocchi, there's no eggs, no uova, no eggs. And here as well. So is it very important? It is. Because that's why I don't want to call pesto. So there's no nuts. So we are very far from any risk of allergies as well. So it's a very safe product. And I want to use this word because you can play safe. Everybody will love it. Not only safe because it's safe, but I can guarantee you will meet a lot of people say this is delicious. And it is. You can even bake this, but let me plate it for you. I know we have 5 hours together tonight, so I can talk a lot. I actually have friends here visiting. He's gonna stay overnight here. There's no problem, guys. So, okay, plating. Look, I'm holding the plating. I receive a lot of this question. What is the best way to plate? A large spoon, left hand, center, moving and getting from the portion and going straight to the center of your plate. It has to look great, yes, but also has to be well proportioned because we don't want to feed with huge portion anybody. Just gonna give enough to make sure there's room for the next one. But listen, the structure and the way the sauce, if you want to call it a sauce, it's sticking to the gnocchi, it's amazing. Rather than using what is at the bottom of the pan, which you might taste a little bitter because I've been talking, since the product has a very stabilized color because of this nature, I will add an extra drop of this on the top, mostly for the smell. I wish you were here to really feel it, how great it smells. But when you add a little bit of this, a drizzle on the top, like this, it will really make a difference. I'm showing you what we did until it's vegan, but then I'm gonna add Parmigiano Reggiano because I really like it. Can you see it?
Yes.
This is a canvas plate, we call it. It's handmade in Portugal, very heavy, with a sort of it's very shallow. Can I say in English, very shallow?
Yes.
So it's gonna keep the sauce where we want it to be, and the weight is gonna hold the temperature again. Because for sure, you don't wanna eat neither gnocchi or any pasta cold. And then Parmigiano Reggiano, I use a microplane because volume is very important. I know, guys, you want pepper, but I'm not going to put pepper here, okay? So get over all that pepper. We can't put pepper everywhere. Parmigiano Reggiano, just a little bit to make sure that we have that extra flavor. But also remember, every time you use the real Parmigiano Reggiano, which is one, you can see from what we call the rind, there's all the wording here. It's a very soluble. Does it make sense in English, soluble? So it's really going to dissolve quickly and doing that extra flavor and consistency that any dish might be in the use of. Today, I choose a 24 months because the basil we're using it's enough pungent, enough distinctive, and how can I say, he has a strong identity. So it doesn't need help in that part. And I'm going to move here. No salt added by any means. Please remember what I said. You don't need it. And you want the potato being there, calming down what's going on with the basil and all those flavors. So you want to feel the potato. And as we said before, gnocchi doesn't need to take a lot of time to be done. So the recipe I will send you over, we will call gnocchi 3 steps. How about that? And I promise it's going to be 5 minutes, no more than that.
Perfect. Thank you. And Nandita asked if you have any other cheeses in mind that would pair well with the basil sauce.
See, I might, so specifically with this basil sauce, because it contains salt inside, I would be away from pecorino, for example. In other cases, I would say yes to pecorino. I would be away to feta for the same reason. But, you know, I don't know if I'm pronouncing very well, so excuse me in the beginning. Gouda or Gouda, how they call it?
Gouda, yes.
Gouda could work very well. I would like to think about some creamy sheep cheese as well. So that kind of flavor, you know what I'm saying? Subtle, and basically we're looking for the freshness part more than from the saltiness and richness.
Perfect.
And what we're gonna pair with this in terms of wine?
That's a good question. Does anyone have any ideas?
I have 3 options here. So if you want it, guys, I can do that.
Someone said Prosecco, someone said Pinot.
Brava, no, who said Prosecco?
Valderi.
Brava, Prosecco. Prosecco è perfetto. That's what I had in my mind. Bravissimi. So Prosecco is the way to go because of the bubble, because of the structure and the acidity, and because in Prosecco there's sugar. So we need to balance that part of saltiness. We can even take it, guys, to the next level, and we can go to the Prosecco Rose. Don't be afraid. This is a summer dish. You can go with a Prosecco Rose. And since we said it, I would say that Etna Rosé from Sicily would be a great pairing. And not the Montepulciano, but you can try some. Well, you can really try a little bit of Nebbiolo on this dish. Is it wintry? Yes or no? We have potato from the earth, from the soil, so it goes well. So 3 pairing. Beer, any beer you like, stay away from Guinness for this dish.
Okay. I love carbonation, so I'm happy that you're talking about all the carbonated beverages.
I think, honestly, with this type of food and what we are playing here, which is simplicity, carbonation or natural carbonation is the way to go. Even a great glass of chilled San Pellegrino water could be great. And remember, San Pellegrino water is a little bit of a trick. When you have some flavor, you want to pop out the understanding and doing a tasting, start always with a glass of San Pellegrino. It's what we call the water of the critique. Even for your wine, before giving your final judge on a red wine, for example, try a glass of San Pellegrino. You might discover a total different wine after that.
Oh, wow.
In a bad, in a good way.
Does it cleanse your palate?
Correct. And not only, it adds a little bit of saltiness. Probably in the San Pellegrino family, they're not happy I say they add saltiness, but if you've been drinking San Pellegrino, you know what is the taste and the feeling. So yes, it's a cleanse. And again, is working towards the region number 5 in the tongue, which is the key, because it's also the neurological part that gives you the appreciation and gives you the next reason to get a next bite. Does it make sense?
Yes. Yeah, thank you for that tip.
Absolutely. Do you guys have time for a little bit of dessert, or you are in a rush?
I think we have time. It's only 7:50, so we have at least 10 minutes.
Perfect. I'm glad. So we're not going for the 5 hours. We stick to the 1 hour then. Okay. I'll do something else in the other 4 hours. It's okay. It's not personal. I understand. I understand you guys have a life. It's okay. So sure. So at this point, we've been eating the burrata in the beginning. Then we move to the gnocchi, and then we're going to have dessert. I hope you have a gym enrollment, or you do some running after this tomorrow, because we are loading here in a lot of great food, but there's some aspect about calories that actually it's not to be worried about it. So you can forget to go to the gym tomorrow, because you want to talk about calories about here. How many calories are these gnocchi with this basil sauce we use? Less than 300. Gnocchi is one of the pasta with less calories ever. We cannot say risotto or rice, because rice is not pasta. So it's actually a very healthy dish, no gluten. We know how to make it vegan, 300 calories. The burrata, we have to be careful. There's a little bit more fat over there. So that's why we want to make it very tasty, and we pre-cut it. Try always to share the burrata if you can, okay? Because it's easy to go around 600 calories. And I want to keep you in this dinner around 1,000 calories, even less if I can, okay? To have room for the wine, of course.
That sounds good.
All right, so I really couldn't wait to start working with the fermented rice drink. I don't know if you've been familiar with this or you ever tried it. It's one of those drinks that you might start out of curiosity and out of the health benefit and what really makes it, starting from the label that is beautiful. But the moment you try, you will feel that it's, first of all, amazing. It works very well at room temperature and cold. Me, I prefer room temperature. Probably I'm the weird one here. I take it. I've been there. I have no hair, so I've already been called the weird before. That's no problem. But I like because there's depth. There's fermentation. There's a lot of aftertasting. So again, temperature, and I've been using this word all night, it's on our side when you want to feel very well a flavor. Like an ice cream or a gelato. The moment you start melting, you decide if it was for you. Before it's just really cold. So what could you do with this? The moment I saw and I tasted, I said, okay, I want to do panna cotta. I want to do a dessert because it really reminds me flowers. It brought me to the blossom of the cherries in Japan. I don't know, that kind of flavor and freshness, that kind of place of your mind where you feel it's so simple, but it could last forever. You feel is getting what Earth can give you in such a simplicity, but a complexity. So when you sip it, a second sip will be very different because it's fermented. So what I'm saying is you could add 20 fruit puree. You can add it to anything you like, even a carrot juice, and adding, blending together, but careful when we say blending. I would rather guys you to whisk it, mix it and blend it, because the structures, and I hope I can see with this camera, is there. So it looks like milky. So there's a suspension of ingredients and liquids that is really on our side, and you don't want to forget it about because it's a peculiarity that you want to have when you have it. In the panna cotta I choose to do tonight, this is a great structural note that will really help. Let me move to the recipe. I'll send it, I know, but really it's 1 little bottle and 2 spoons of gelatin, any gelatin you like. I like gelatin because it's completely vegan. There are some gelatins from Germany, they're not. This is completely vegan. And I like because it gives me the versatility of choosing if I want to chill it or if I want to keep it warm. Because I might like to have it to room temperature or even around, let's say, 135 degrees, a little bit warmer, maybe to pair with a sake or a great passito wine. But I'll show you tonight the panna cotta. So 1 bottle. This I stole it from my daughter, okay? It's on camera. I'm planning to return it, okay? All right, I will return it. But it's perfect, you. So you saw it, well. So 1 open, it's actually a very, very easy bottle to open and very easy to close. I've been sipping from 1 bottle for a couple of days, closing in the refrigerator. It just separates a little bit because it's natural. You go back shaking and it's perfect, okay? So open. I like to smell it right away because it reminds me why I'm using these ingredients. I feel dates. I feel inside cherries, flowers, honey, rice, water, coconut. There's everything. So very complex, but very distinctive. Honey. It could be a great hydromele option for doing a liquor. It could be so many things. But tonight it will be panna cotta. So picture 1 bottle. Look. It's about 200 millimeters, or as I'm being taught here, 3/4 of a cup. Just 1 bottle. And then gelatin, regular one. Beside having a spoon from 1938, old sterling steel, it's a regular spoon. So 1 spoon, 2 spoons. No sugar, yes, no sugar. I was checking this morning the amount of sugar in the bottle. It's very low, but it's there and it's very natural, so it's gonna stay. It really reminds me when you put a fructose type of sugar, so delicate and in depth, but something to be considered because it's definitely there. So nothing to add. And now the whiskey. This is the most difficult part where you need all your skills. Okay, okay. Really, 15 seconds, 16, 17. Very, very quick, just to dissolve. What I would do as a piece of advice, learned in few years of experience working with gelatin and this type of consistency, you can microwave 10 seconds, 15 seconds. It's not really moving that much the temperature, but it's gonna break the gelatin and the structure, and it will look perfectly smooth when it cools down. Because the next step will be putting in a nice mold, silicone mold, and it will not be the regular mold of a panna cotta, but I decided to go to the area of Piemonte, inspiring to the shape of a gianduiotto. Stealing ingredients, getting some ingredients ideas, stealing them from Sicily, the Zibibbo grapes. All right, this is ready. So these are the molding I've been using, are pretty regular. You can find them everywhere these days. There are wonderful stores in New York where you can buy it. You can find in stores. I like to cut them because usually they are like 9 or 12. 3 pieces is great to me and easy to stay in the refrigerator at home. I don't know what kind of refrigerator you guys are. Maybe someone lives in the RV as I'm looking forward, so you need something smaller for any refrigerator. Okay, so what we're gonna need, and this is an important tip, use a ceramic plate at the bottom, because after watching what happened, you will have to move to the refrigerator. So you wanna make sure it's not shaking too much. My picture, I really wanna do this part under the camera because I want them to see it. So I started from the center. I know already there will be 2 of them, but I wanna start in the center like this. So 1 and 2. It seems really perfect. When I try it, I say, wow, really too. It actually is perfect. So the 2 of them are ready. We'll do a little bit of this movement and right away in the refrigerator. Can you guys see it?
Yes, we can see it. It already looks like it's starting to get thick.
It is because we've been a little bit extra, but don't get the trick yourself. You remember you want to refrigerate it because the gelatin thicks from the outside to the inside. So it might break apart. So let it rest around 45 minutes, even an hour in the refrigerator would be great. Don't take the shortcut of putting in the freezer because you want to have it with a consistency that is through the edge to the center, equal in color and texture. And after 45 minutes, you go in your refrigerator with your standard gold dish from the 70s, which all of you owns, and voila, that's the shape. Clarity, I'm touching with my finger because I want to show you what I mean. See how it's moving? Can you feel it? And then later we're going to cut it through. It's the density in the structures is from the center to the outside, perfectly equivalent in any portion. This is what we did. So as I said, I'm going to steal some ingredients from Sicily, and I've been working today in moisturing and giving some tenderness to the Zibibbo grape. Zibibbo is a great sweet wine from Sicily, and the grapes are really delicious, and I got some of them here. It's not raisin, it's a really grape from the Zibibbo plant. So I'm gonna put some of them around like this.
Chef, as you're doing that, Rachel was asking more about the mold. Is it any silicone mold that you can use?
See, very good question, Rachel, and I have to say, very good eye. Do you like Rachel doing pastry, or was just a curiosity?
I love to cook everything, but yeah, I do a lot of baking. So yeah, that's what I was wondering if it matters. Okay,
this is a very professional molding. You have a good eye. So I bought it to a specific store on 28th in New York that is on the 3rd floor. I don't want to say the name, but I'm sure you can find it. And it's a very high quality. It goes well with high temperature, but it also keeps the shiny, smooth part in the inside that you and me, we know, and all of us know how important it is in the moment we have to take out from the mold. So good eye. So look for what I call really high-end professional, and I will tell you the range of the temperature of this one. So this one goes minus 50 Celsius, so up to minus 76 Fahrenheit. So really, really good. And it's 100% what they call the platinum silicone. So it goes very well in the microwave as well. I gave you the negative temperature because some of these, when they are cheap, they break in the negative temperature. When it's too low, this one will not do it. So definitely when you look for a mold, check if they have the holes in the 4 corners. It means a professional one. Even the color tells you the material. And just a piece of information, I always use the one made for making chocolate like this one because they are the highest in quality and details.
Thank you. And we had a question from Minna. She's wondering if the material of the mold will change how long you refrigerate the mixture.
Oh, okay. What both for the gnocchi or generally speaking?
I think generally speaking, probably for the panna cotta.
See, plexiglass would be the best choice, what they call Pyrex.
Okay. And does that change how long you should refrigerate it?
See, I would say if you can use a Pyrex, considering the size and the shape of the tree, 45 minutes, it's great. I don't know your refrigerator. You know that some refrigerators are tricky. Bottom, top right, top left, they tend to freeze. Make sure that you put it where you put your vegetables, not touching any bag because you don't want to freeze it.
Okay, that's a good
And before serving, either taking out the refrigerator for 30 minutes or give the 10 seconds in the microwave. We want to feel the textures as we did, look, but still we want to have a soft bite when we get in. Okay, so now I'm using a little bit of the water from the Zibibbo raisin to give a little taste, but also because I want to do something else. And you will see in a finishing touch in a second. Okay, the water of the Zibibbo is exactly how you are expecting. That sweet, but also fruity, which is preparing me for going with a pairing either with a sake or a passito, not a limoncello. No limoncello here at all. To sugar, no, doesn't work. Yes, to balsamico with saba. That's what we want to do it. So we're gonna do this exactly. I hope they can see it. Maybe you could hold it with one hand. Okay, here you guys can see it. So I'll be back and look what I'm doing with this. This is almost a 35 aged balsamic and saba. Okay, it will remind you the flavor of figs, of cherry, of balsamico, of vinegar, and look. And now, because color is important and there's a lot of white, a little bit of the blue flowers. And I will say ready for service.
Wow, it looks great. I love balsamic being incorporated into the dessert.
Remember the balsamic I said, and I said the word saba, because technically balsamic is with mosto cotto from the grapes. This one has a little touch. It's the oldest balsamic from Italy, from the Giusti family. It's from the 1600s, so they always have 500 years of their balsamic. This one specifically, it's the one of 4 metals. It has the saba inside. It's real. There's nothing dense. It's just a structure, but it's going to give that fruity part that I don't want to take off from this dish.
Wow. It looks amazing and so beautiful too, and simple.
Simple, right? And you can see all the structures, and it's actually a portion you don't need to share. It's fine for one person, but we could do even more. We could melt some chocolate and going on top with the chocolate and let it refrigerate. You have half chocolate cover and half not. It will really work very well.
So one bottle will make 2 of those.
Say 2 of those. And I wanted to do straight like that because it's so simple. It's one of those things you can remember. You could add some juice if you want. For example, banana juice will work extremely well, but then I will ask you to do the chocolate cover. Or can you add things inside? Totally yes. Another thing, we don't have time tonight, and I wish we'll have, and soon I hope, guys, to meet you again. It's one of those products that I really love to freeze and make ice cubes.
Nice.
Yes, because you know what is very difficult when you do ice cubes? Keeping the clarity. Did you ever try to make the clear, perfect ice?
You need a very low temperature freezer, right?
First step, but you need pressure, you need the right water, and you need a lot of luck. Because any movement, any bubbles over there in the freezer is not going to make it. So it's a 2 process with layers, with weights. It's impossible. There are some ice machine and some molding. In this case, because there's a little touch of the sugar, so fermentation alcoholic, the cube is going to look like a universe with all the structures, and it will look like an opaque, I don't know if you can say, but not a clear diamond in a way. And we can put inside fruit and everything we want. It will be beautiful. I did some tests. It's outstanding.
And what would you put those ice cubes in?
So usually I use the molding for doing the shape, and then listen, iced coffee, yes. You know, all those people cannot drink milk as I do with dairy. Amazing. Iced coffee with a cube of this one to go crazy, especially if inside you melted in some chocolate drops or maybe some Cuban chocolate or maybe some pieces of almond or stuff like that, it could be incredible. We can use in a cocktail, in a martini, for example, would be really, really great. But anywhere, in any juice, I mean, it's versatile. To me, it's very exciting, the ice cube, but really we didn't have the way to show it because of what we said.
Right. And as it melts, it changes the flavor of the drink.
Correct. Not only the flavor, but even the color, because it has a density. So
Right.
can you imagine you are very tired in the morning and you get a red eye and you throw one of these inside. The moment you drink it, it's giving all the energy you want and the color. And at the end, you end up with a sort of macchiato.
I love that. That's a great idea.
Grazie. So on my side, it's the end. Even I feel bad because I want to stay with you all night. But
No, thank you so
happy to
much.
take questions.
Yes. Does anyone have any other questions? I know we answered some throughout the demonstration, but if anyone has questions or wanted to unmute themselves, please feel free to throw them in the chat. And thank you so much for coming up with these recipes and sharing all this with us. I know many of you were able to pick up these ingredients from RESOBOX, and thank you again to RESOBOX and their team for being open and letting us come in and pick up these ingredients. And Wilder is asking, when will we get the recipes? And Chef Michele, I can get those from you tomorrow, whenever you have time.
Tomorrow morning when you wake up.
All right, perfect. And then once I get them, I will send them off to you.
Yes, I'm trying to do the structure of the recipe as we did it. Very simple, because I want to keep the focus on the ingredient and not getting distraction from that. And a side note, very important, we are dealing with Japanese ingredient, which means the quantity are very specific. You don't need to add or take off anything. So, for example, this bottle, can you dilute? Yes, you can, but be careful. So they are very, very well proportioned towards quality, not quantity. So we have to be very specific because they're very decisive in their flavor and characteristic.
Perfect. Yes, everyone is giving you a lot of love in the chat, saying that they learned so much and they love listening to you. And thank you so much for the demonstration. And also thank you all so much to everyone who's joined us from Japan as well. I know it's very early morning for you, but we really appreciate having you here and the manufacturers with us. That was definitely very special. So again, thank you so much, Chef Michele. Thank you to RESOBOX, and thank you to everyone who joined us tonight. Really appreciate it.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Have a great night, everyone.
So, good
日本
night.
から参加していただいた方、ありがとうございました。とてもチャットに来ていただいて、とても感謝しております。ありがとうございました。
That's what I meant. Exactly.
Exactly. I got you covered, Chef Michele.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
So, bye. Good night.
Bye. Good night.